Recording now. Live and recording. Okay, great. I think we are live. So normally I would do this through OBS, but have you ever heard of OBS? It's really cool. Pretty cool. So normally I would do this over OBS, but today I'm going to do it directly through Zoom instead. And we have a lot of people here, actually 10 people, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be more. I'm going to admit them all. Hello, everyone. Let's see who's in the room. So we have Deborah, we have Peter, we have Aaron, Coach James. Hello, Gyong. Hi, nice to see you. Aaron, Marcus, Wilson, nice to meet all of you. We're gonna start right on time. Now, just so that everyone here, especially those who are watching from Facebook Live, know who this guy is, right? By the way, make sure your camera is on. That is my criteria for being here. Make sure your camera is on. All of my events, everyone has to turn on their camera. Cannot turn off. I don't want any lurkers over here. All right, we're back and coming back to this one. We're gonna start bumping people. Those of you out who is not camera, who is not on. But sorry.
Deborah is my wife.
Deborah is your wife. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that she is still here. Hi, Deborah, Jansen's wife. Hi. We're wearing masks. Okay, so very nice to see all of you guys over here. And just so you guys know exactly who this is, his name is Jansen. I met Jansen approximately about 4 years ago, I think, right, Jansen? About 5 years ago, yeah, thereabouts. At that point in time, I was still operating a gym, and I remember back then he was still in BNI. He was still doing his thing, and then business was still operating a gym, and sorry, I think I just accident for some reason. Okay, hold on. I just heard myself talking for some reason. I'm gonna come back to this. So at that point in time, Jansen was still doing things through BNI lah, and after a while, his business really grew. And at that point in time, he decided to do something really interesting. He decided to, because the business grew, and he decided to buy off his partner. So he bought off his partner, and guess what happened? MCO happened. So imagine this. Imagine you just work your ass off to build a business, and it is doing well. It is a fitness business. It is completely dependent on location. It is very dependent on face-to-face interaction. And at that point in time, online training is still not such a big thing back then. Nowadays, it's a very big thing. Back then, it wasn't a big thing. So he decided to buy his partner off with a small fortune, like a large amount of his money. And guess what happened? MCO happened, and all gym operations has to stop. So you guys can all imagine how that feels. Me being an owner operator of a gym myself back then, I can imagine how devastating that would be for me. But in spite all of that, right, he pushed onwards, and fast forward to 1 year later, the kind of results that he's seeing now, he scaled his business from 2 employees to 9 employees. He's on track to reaching 7 figures. He recently, now he's not just an owner of one company. He has basically 3 companies, one of which is PNC, pretty hush hush. The other one is actually a food business, and on top of it all, right, for his most latest venture and his most latest project, right, he's got investors like ready to send him money. And guess what? He told the investors, no need, I got it. And if I need more money, I will make it happen. So who is this person? His name is Jansen, and we're gonna have a very interesting and stimulating and learning filled conversation today about what actually happened. How the hell can a gym business operate throughout MCO and scale up throughout MCO and stay in operation? And what are all the trials and tribulations, and what are all the different challenges that he has faced in the building of this particular business? So it is with a lot of excitement. Very honored to have him. as a guest for my community in Thrive Together, as well as all of you guys who are listening right now. His name is Jansen. Let's give him a big round of applause. Yeah? Even though nobody can really hear, a big round of applause. I wish to give you a big round of applause. So I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of questions that everyone wants to ask you, but before everyone else gets to ask you, I get to ask you first. It's a first movers advantage. So, okay, we have more people coming in. All right. So, let's see. Jansen.
Yep. Hey guys.
Hi. What can you tell me again? Like, when exactly was it that you decided to buy off your partner?
I remember the day the first MCO was announced. It was on my birthday, March 16. I remember very clearly. March 16 was my birthday. That was the day where it was the greatest present, MCO. Wow. Okay. And then things. Well, and then after that we were like, okay, how are you gonna survive? At the time, I was still in partnership with my ex-partner. Yeah. And soon as time passes by, I felt like before the whole MCO began, there was some form of misalignment. I can feel like things are not going to work out, and that was when around the third week of March, a few days after the MCO, is when I decided that I have to move on to buy my partner out, and it was very tough to make a decision because you're cash strapped as a startup, because we started the company, the facility in December, November, December, end of November, December, we started the facility, and that was when we all know COVID came in, and we're like, okay, it's still in China, it will not come here, and it came to Malaysia, yeah. But I made that decision to buy my partner out on the third week of March, I remember. And the fourth week of March, towards the end of March, around like March 27 onwards, it was a day whereby we had a Zoom meeting, and yeah, and it was pretty tough as a young guy. And my partners are much older than I am, and they are much more business savvy.
Wait, how old are you this year?
I'm 28.
You're 28? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Wow, 28. Yes, pretty young. How old was your partner?
Two of them, they're in their late 30s.
Late 30s. So they're more experienced So you mentioned it was a big decision to you. Did you know that MCO, is it already after MCO, or was it like before MCO?
It was during MCO that I decided to buy my partner out.
During MCO?
Yeah. And I had to pay him everything by the end of March. If not, he would not want to go out.
Oh my God. When you had like two partners,
yeah.
So you had to pay both of them.
It's both of them together, but it's under one name.
Right. Are you comfortable to share like around the tune of how much? It's okay if you don't want to, it's fine. Yeah, but
at the point of time, it was around 30,000 plus. Yeah. 30,000 plus.
That's coming out directly from your savings, right?
And it was MCO. I had to prepare. We haven't even break even from the startup cost, and we had to prepare for the MCO as well. So it was pretty painful. Yeah.
I'm sure, and scary as well. Like, did you see a way that you're gonna recover? I mean, like, I can put myself in your shoes at that point in time. MCO just got announced. Business has to close. And there were so many news around. I know what the government was saying. The government said 2 weeks, but we all know it didn't last for 2 weeks. It lasted a lot longer than that. And those of us who are actually in the know, we kind of predicted it's gonna last until end of this year, until end of 2021. But at that point in time, did you know, like, did you had this idea that the MCO is gonna last indefinitely, or were you also hoping that it will lift?
I remember at that point of time, I felt very alone, and whereby I was just going through the motion. I was going through my day-to-day life, and I found a new hobby during the first MCO, which is cooking. So my wife can testify. I started cooking a lot to get some stress out. But at the point of time, no matter what I do, always go into a wall. I will always bang a wall, and that's when I realized that I'm not aligned in terms of my thought process, in terms of my belief, my belief system, my state of mind. But it was pretty tough for me to pull myself back up from the hole that I got in. Even with my partnership, Robin is here. Robin is someone that's so close to me beside my wife. He's a mentor to me. And I remember his words. He told me that no, you shouldn't go in the partnership. And of course, I just like I didn't take into much word into that. I said no, it'll be fine. Well, he was right, and I learned a lot, and it was painful, but I had to go through that to at least come to where I am today. Part of the process of molding myself up. Could that been prevented? Yes, but I guess after going through the experience, you come out stronger if you allow to come, if you allow yourself to go through that process, in terms of having that mindset to come out stronger. But I never was I didn't know when MCO is gonna end. And even when MCO is gonna end, I think to myself like will people have the confidence back to come towards going to the gym, go back to the fitness industry? And it was very gloomy, and I don't see any hope during that time period during the first MCO.
So in the middle of such uncertainty, you made a decision which will plunge you even deeper into uncertainty.
Yeah, somewhat. So my decision at the point of time I remember was, okay, I'm only gonna set this amount, and if I'm not gonna make it, I'm only gonna use this amount to close the facility. I remember that point, and that was like in early June. My mindset was set towards closing down, and I didn't focus, or didn't even bother thinking about how can we climb out of it. Of course, during the whole MCO, I did try to put myself back up, going through a few courses. That's where we see a lot of spike in gurus and online coaches and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to be a guru at a point in time, I remember.
Yeah, of course, their intention is good, but there will also be some where the intention is not good. So we do not know. But at that point of time, I just did my part. I did my part to learn and to do our very best to survive. So I'm very thankful to my whole team as well.
Wait, hold on a minute. Let's backtrack a little bit. It is such an uncertain time when everybody that I know of, I remember in March last year, April, right? I remember I went online about 1 year in 2019. And because of the decision, I was like sorted. But at the same time, I remember in March 2020, right, there was so much uncertainty. Basically, people are losing their heads left, right, and center of me, at least in my personal circle. Everyone was like, what the hell? And I see on the chat, it's like every day somebody would be complaining about something. Somebody will be complaining about the MCO, somebody will be complaining about this, and some people will be talking about like, this is like one of those, look at this situation, let's look at this situation, that kind of feeling. Yeah. And you, my friend, you actually made that decision to buy off your partner without any clear road ahead, because one side of it I heard already, which is there was misalignment. But I also want to hear what is the other side of it. What is the potential? What is the pleasure that you think you got a pain? You must also have a pleasure. Like, what is the potential that you see about your future at the time?
I couldn't see much of a future, frankly speaking, at the point of time. I know that it was a point that I have to exit from the partnership so that I can have more time to focus in terms of focusing on the business and making certain decisions faster. So yeah,
all in.
That was that only hope that I could see, that the only pleasure. It's like I'm able to be set free from my chains.
I think that's a powerful learning, everyone, because how often in life, right, we know what is necessary to be done for our business, but we are too afraid to take the action, right? We know something needs to be done. We know something isn't working. In your case, the partnership wasn't working, right? And for most people, right, they would like to just delay the decision. And I think that's really admirable, Jansen. You know, it's not every day we can see this level of courage. So actually, what exactly can you tell us? Like, what exactly, aside from just I cannot, or is that it? Is that the biggest? Was that such a strong push that you are able to make such a courageous decision to leave the partnership at a point in time?
At that point of time, during this whole MCO, it showed me what it means to do business. You know, everyone was saying, "Oh, you know, you're so lucky you're doing business, you're your own boss, blah blah blah." But you don't realize, wow, it's so tough, especially now, COVID. And now
Yeah.
people are more thankful that they want to have a job. You know, so at that point of time, if if I don't have people that are very close to me, my wife, my mentors, God, you know, I wouldn't be able to make the decision. I would not be able to have someone that I can cling to. At that point of time, it was clinging on to God that He has a plan for me, and I'll do my best, and I'll surrender the rest to Him. And at that point of time, I know that it was tough. Like it was very tough to not just make that decision, but to go through that process of parting ways with my partner. So yeah, if it wasn't for my very close counsel, if it wasn't for 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 myself giving Jansen that opportunity to make the decision, I would not be able to do it.
You chose to give yourself the opportunity. Brilliant. And so after the partnership, like how does it feel once you terminate the partnership?
Uh, After that, felt like I've been set free. It felt like my chains are gone. It felt like I'm able to focus, and I'm glad that that part was over. And now I can focus in keeping my staff and focusing on keeping the business alive. So I had more brain energy and capacity to now focus on that. And that was when I remember like April, May, you know, just went through a lot of courses, went through a lot of planning, or I at least try to do as much planning as I can. But again, I just bang a lot of balls. Yeah.
Did you sign up for any one of those like super expensive courses that take like 6 months, 1 year? Did you went on any one of those?
Prior to that, in the year of 2019, I signed up for a course. Is by this ACMF group, and the name is called Ginhai and Kizun, whereby they teach you about business.
I know Ginhai.
Yeah. So I went for one of their courses once. Whereby it's most people that go through the course, they are in the education or in the service line. So it's a 3-day course, learning about what does it mean to start a business, and the whole journey that is needed, the whole process that you need to start a business. My wife was with me on the third day, on the last day. That kind of gave me a foundation in terms of what does it mean to run a business, learning from them. But at the same time, what I realized that even though I have all this knowledge, right, but if my mindset and my belief system is not in tune, I'm not going to achieve my full potential.
Yeah.
So this is where I would say the biggest change that came by after MCO was my mindset and my belief system, and who am I aligning myself towards to.
You know, the key word that I hear in all of this is faith. Like in your case, faith in God, but also faith in yourself. And another key word that I hear is the community. Having people around you who supports you, who has your best interest at heart. Would you say that?
Yep.
So I'm gonna now put myself into your shoes immediately after the decision. Now partner's gone. The support, or rather the so-called quote unquote support. Because typically in the typical business arrangement, partners are there, they play an active role. So now it's all on me. I have employees to feed, I got a family to feed, I got rent to pay for, and I have no clear picture of exactly how I'm gonna make my revenues. It just got real. So, what was going through your mind?
Well, I had savings,
Yeah.
so at the point of time, I'm very grateful to the members of my facility, whereby when we were still operating as a fitness center, so they were there, and I'm very thankful for the provision that during that time. We had two types of memberships. Yeah, one is those that come and pay a monthly membership, and those are of course personal training. And during that time of April and May, I received calls, like from old clients that they stop, but then they say, hey, I want to get myself fitter again, and I want to fix myself. And then we managed to get a few clients on the personal training side, and that has helped to give some form of revenue for the company to go on.
When was this?
But it was around April May. So we
Mm.
had some revenue in, but we were barely surviving. So, but then of course again, I still don't see any hope because I don't know what's the future in terms of will people still come back to the gym? Will I be able to get more clients to grow, or am I going to be stuck? Yeah.
And what was the
My,
point
my
like?
mindset
Sorry.
my mindset was all about surviving and living in the present. I couldn't foresee the future. I couldn't bring myself back up to plan ahead because I was still pretty frustrated with what is around me. But that is also because of my expectations. My expectation at that point of time was, okay, I need money, I need sales, but I don't see that happening, and I try to do everything. I don't see that coming in. So it all depends on the business. Most businesses at that point of time, their goal was to build relationships with clients.
Mm.
If your focus and your goal at the point of time is to sow seeds, so by you're sowing the seed, you're giving back, and you're just plowing, you're doing the work, then
Mm.
maybe and your plan is good, you're able to now harvest. But at that point of time, my goal was harvesting first, So it's a reverse. Yeah.
Because it's a desperate situation, ma. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what have you tried during those desperate moments?
What have I tried? Of course, online classes. The only reason why online classes did work is because of the support of the community. That was one. And
Mm.
we did try to do some online, get clients online to close them through Zoom,
Mm.
which we were able to succeed in getting some clients online. But it it is still not part of a big picture. It's still going through the motion. Whatever that I was doing at the point of time, I was just going through the motion. Yeah. So there was no concrete plan. It's just going through the motion.
Can you describe for me like how is it like on a typical Jansen day? Like how is it like when you wake up? What do you feel?
um, I will sleep pretty late, so like 2, 3, 4 o'clock. So would what I remember doing was staying up very late, going wasting time. I wasted a lot of time. Or you cannot do anything. You feel very hopeless. So you just you go through social media, go through YouTube.
Mm.
I was killing time. Um, that was what I remember doing a lot, playing games. Yeah,
Because you're overwhelmed and don't know what to do, no clarity, no direction.
correct.
Yeah. And sometimes during those moments, we want to like all we want to do is just feel better about the situation. So we ended up looking for things that makes us feel better. Sorry, that was my cat pudding. Um, so when was the turning point actually? Like when did things start to change?
I remember it was towards the middle of June or end of June. I told my whole team,
Mm.
my staffs,
Mm.
that guys, what's come to worst, we're gonna close shop. We're all gonna focus online. Or what's come to worst, we just do house visits, right? Um, and I told and I remember when I had that call, my wife was there, Deborah, and Robin was there, and I told them like, okay, I paid about I have about 20,000 in deposit left because of the agreement with the landlord, and once I take down everything, and I um, give it back into original position back to the landlord, I'll give it the money back, and I'll figure out what I'm gonna do next time. Maybe I'll focus on like house visits again. And that time, the decision was to delay the decision.
What do you
So
mean by
meaning
that?
decide later. So that was where I remember he said, no, you're gonna Robin told me you're gonna decide to decide later. Give yourself more time. Decide that later. Don't give up. Because I wouldn't have started this whole facility if I know that it's not from God. Because the reason why I started Constant Co is because of God. I remember I went to my church conference, and at that point of time, that was middle of 2019. I left my job in the end of 2018, and I became a freelance coach or contractor coach to different schools. And life was pretty okay for me. I was comfortable. I had a few people under me, but somehow in the middle of 2019, I have a gut feeling telling me that, I know that's God telling me that, Jansen, you're going to lose all your clients by the end of 2019 in terms of all your school clients. And guess what? That really happened. Yeah. I lost all my clients for no reason. And they can't tell me a reason. I did my job well. I serviced them well, did my part to be a good coach, produce results, but yet I was replaced. But that was when backtrack a little bit more. In September, October, I went to my church conference and it's a 3 days conference, and that was when I heard God spoke to me. Have faith, I will be with you, and fear not. And that was when I decided, okay, I'll do it. Because I remember at the point of time when it was the pastor was sharing, and this is real itself. I'm a very skeptical and a very logical person, and I'm very much into numbers. But at the same time, I cannot deny if this is not God. I remember at the end of the whole conference, the pastor was saying, okay, I want you to hold that piece of cloth that we were given on the first day to remember your what God has spoke to you. That's of your dream, right? And in my heart, it's to open a center. And then what happened was someone that was in front of me in the middle of the whole conference while we were praying, he stopped, and that person looked at me and said, Jansen, he knows that you have been bullied all through your life. He knows that you have been taken advantage of in your previous partnership before this partnership. He knows that you have been through a lot. And that's why I want you to know that I will be with you. Fear not. And that was why I started Constant. That was in November, right? And then December, boom, MCO. I was like, what in the world, God? You asked me to do this. And now MCO. Yeah. So then the decision came about on June, whereby myself, Robin, and Deborah, we had a conversation on Zoom, and we said we're gonna decide later, and we're gonna give our very, very best for this next 2 or 3 months, and then we see the results, and that was the best decision that I made.
Yeah, it's just one tough decision after another. The first decision to start the company, second decision to buy off your partners, tough decision. And the third decision, I by the way, I had partners of my own as well. I know how difficult it is to actually have partnerships. When we are friends, and we are excited to go into business together, it's very easy to make a decision, right? And then when times get tough, when fingers starts to fly everywhere, when we are looking for a situation, when we are looking to diagnose and find the problem, it could very easily go into difficult conversations, and you had that, and then after that the very difficult, because the easy thing to do at that point in time when you're suffering, when you have so much uncertainty, the easy thing for anybody to do is to just quit. And in spite of that, you persisted. So even though there's no clear way, but you know that you need to persist, and so you persevered.
Yeah, the only reason why I persist was because I remember what is my calling, what's my purpose, and I have faith that that's the purpose and calling that I need to obey, and that's why I persist.
What's your calling?
You guys can Google about me. You can just go Google and just Google Jansen Yo. You will find that a few of my stories that the Star, BFM, World of Bars, and Light FM covered about me, and it talks a lot about my background, my history, context. But ultimately, the purpose that I know that I need to do is to equip, encourage, and empower people to champion their health. And health has different aspects. I can go on a bit more in terms of my own personal health issues, but you guys can just Google about me and find out about my issues. But that's my purpose and that's my calling.
You're championing something that you believe in. You're championing something which you truly find purpose in. I think that's admirable as well. So what's next? Like after that, like you gotten a few clients. Now you know you can survive, barely surviving, but you survive. But something must have happened to take you from just barely surviving to now being on track to making 7 figures, right? So what was it?
I would say Constant Co as a group, we started to, like, when Constant Co actually started is January 2021. That is when I feel like this is the time where the company is alive. But from June towards December, the half of 2020, right? My mindset was still, um, I'm not very sure. My faith is still it's still very unstable. Whereby I see success, but the success is not consistent. I still don't have a plan. I'll still go through the motion. I mean, I'm very grateful that I was able to go through that. And we know that at that point of time, Malaysia was still doing pretty okay in terms of the pandemic, right? It was about CMCO, and things were starting to ease out a little bit after June, and at that point of time. Um, I would say the real transformation came as I started to address first my beliefs, as I first started to address my mindset. And the third thing is to realign myself to understand God. God is a very big part of my life. So I won't be afraid to not share about God, because again, if there's no God, there's no Jansen here. But I decided to take a step to say that, okay, God, I want to come back to you and learn more about you. Yeah.
Can you tell us, like, what are some of the biggest mindset shifts that you had to, because it's like it's like this, it's like an identity shift, you know. It's almost like, from the sound of it, you have to cast away who you were and embrace someone new so that you can then do what is necessary.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some of the biggest things that you need to let go about yourself in order for you to see the results that you're seeing now?
I've always believed in this statement, whereby if you believe you can do it, you can do it. If you believe you can't do it, you can't do it. So your how you what is your thought process and what you think in your mind will also affect the results. So instead of me saying things like, okay, I will try, I'm not too sure, but I just do my best. So the my state of mind at that point of time was, okay, I'll just try, I just try, I don't know, but I'll just try. But as I started to look back, what is my identity? in God is number one, God has a plan. I should not be. I should not be worry. I should not worry. I should do my very best. Okay, and that was when I just my very best lah. I just tried, plan, for develop as much system as we can. So I have to address first in terms of the fundamentals of the business. What is our bottleneck right now? So I spoke to my team. Okay, first thing first, we need to get leads in. We need to get leads in. We need to convert, and we need to try and retain people as much as possible. And then we have to reinvest back into marketing. But of course, at the point of time whereby money is very scarce, and I'm a bit afraid to spend money to get clients, but I know that I still have to try. Instead of operating from a mindset of scarcity, I have to think from a mindset of abundance, whereby there are people there that need our services, and they are already there. We have to reach out to them. So if my mindset didn't change from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance, I may not make that decision to invest to advertising towards finding out the different digital marketing people. If you guys are not in digital marketing, you guys should really be on any form of digital marketing. It's very, very important for any businesses. Digitalization, yeah. And that is the reason why Constant is also growing very fast. So at that point of time, it's a lot towards fixing the state of mind, realigning myself, and then everything else started to come into pieces.
Because when your mind over here, if let's say it's disheveled, right? If there's too many things going through your mind and you're anxious, you won't be able to make proper decision anyway. So it's so important to what I'm hearing from this is that it's important to manage our own internal states. Then we are able to see things clearly. And you know what I heard, what I see is different between you in that time and many of the entrepreneurs and solopreneurs that I talk to is you're right, it's that scarcity mindset. Because whenever crisis strike, right, most people's natural instincts is to strict, is to, reserve, is to protect, is to conserve. And you didn't, and even though what I'm hearing is, even though you also have that idea, okay, I'm a bit hesitant, but you didn't let that stop you. You go ahead and you did what was necessary. What would you say is the biggest difference between the Jansen of 2021, June 2021, and the Jansen of March 2020?
The difference between the Jansen of 2021 and the Jansen of 2020 is I learned the importance of clarity, being clear. I learned the importance of focus, and I learned the importance of having a plan. And the last part is identifying a community around you that will have the best of your interests, in their hearts.
Very nice. And in Thrive Together, we are one of the things that we always talk about is actually community, because a lot of times people somehow have the idea that, okay, the people around me not enough, the people around me is not can't help me, and so they try to go and search for some unicorns outside. And one of the things that I always tell them is that it's very difficult to try and establish a rapport and a relationship with complete and total strangers. Why don't we look in here? Why don't we serve in here? And what I've heard from you also is that, during those tough, difficult moments, it is also your own community that you yourself built that actually came in and pitched in, and they actually transacted with you. Even though everywhere around the world, and especially in Malaysia, people go like, okay, it's time to now cut off all unnecessary expenses. So kudos. So with that being said, I want to actually open the floor to everyone to ask questions. Like what actually, before we actually ask the questions, right? Can you guys? Let me see, which one do we do first? You know what? Let's ask the question first. Like, do you guys have any questions that you guys want to ask to Jansen? You can actually just type down the question into the chat. And in the meantime, I actually have a few more of my own. So what is the future looking like for you right now?
The future is very, very exciting. So I'm very excited to see where Constant Core as a group of companies will go with me and my team. Even when you ask me a question about what's the difference between 2020, the struggle didn't stop just there when I make that decision to decide later. And I remember around September, October, all my staff wanted to leave. Yeah. So my team right is a completely new team. All my staff leave. Really all of them left to be on their own. And of course, at that point of time, I questioned myself again, like, did I do anything wrong? Then again, the mindset, you're useless, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, blah, 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 became very insecure. But again, that had to happen so that Jansen can grow. And it's part of the process. I believe that all of us have to go through our own walk and our own journey in life. And like as what you said, we cannot control what will happen in life, despite sometimes we give our very best, we do our very best. But if it happens, it happens. We can control how we choose to not react, but to respond. If we choose to react, it may come in a very, I would say it's negative, but the word respond is better because the word respond is a choice. The word react could be a bit more impulsive. So choice of word matters in terms of what you also tell yourself in terms of your belief system. But in terms of Constant Core as a company, moving forward, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see in terms of the growth of my team because I'm still looking for more people to join because my facility is almost gonna burst. I don't have enough space to feed more people as someone. But I'm being a bit cautious now to expand because of the current pandemic. But I am surveying if there's any good properties in terms of to rent, to have the second location. That's for Constant Rehab. For Constant Meals, we are experimenting on a few more things before we, what was the best strategy for us to market. And for the third project, Project Care, right now, me and my team, they're working on the system and it will take some time, at least another 15 to 17 weeks. But I'm very, very excited for Project Care because when that happens, I know that we are going to help more people. We are going to be able to grow as a company and provide more jobs, and I'm able to also upskill my team and provide them with more finances as well. And I also am very excited to be able to share as much as I can to help more people, especially during this time of the pandemic. Even though I'm just 28, but I've been through a lot, I guess. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future.
Definitely. I'm actually curious, like you when you first met, it's just Constant Co, and then now you have Constant Rehab, Constant Meals. So in other words, actually right now, the offering that you do, your main core offer is also changed, right?
Yeah, so it goes back to what's my vision and my purpose in life, which is to equip, encourage, and empower people to champion their health. And what if you see under health, there are many segments in health. Okay, you got your own physical health. Then some people they have pain in their bodies. They also want to make sure that there's no pain, so there's Constant Rehab. Then also nutrition. That's what constant meal is. But Project Care itself, it's a whole new different thing by itself. But that will encompass everything that Constant aims to do.
Mm. I have a very like a heavy question, not quite heavy lah, and I want to point out a stark reality of where we are at in the world right now, and where many people are finding themselves in. I'm part of certain mental health support groups where we actually offer hotline services for free for anyone who wants it. And very recently, I have one of my friends actually handled one person who is suicidal now, and another one of my friends just this week alone, I heard like 3 suicide cases that my personal friends are handling, and these are people who are finding themselves in situations not too dissimilar from yours, and some is also they just lost a job, like when you look at all these cases, right? what would you, like, if you have a chance to meet these people, right? What would you say to them?
Today is Tuesday, right? On Sunday and on Saturday, on Sunday, I remember waking up on Sunday and my heart is so heavy. I'm very, very blessed. I'm very fortunate to be able to be where I am today, whereby, the expansion of the company, cash flow is not an issue. I'm not worried. Um, and I have to be very aware what is my state of mind first. Am I sympathizing with them or am I empathizing with them? If I start to sympathize with people, I will start to feel, very kasia, and then you feel like very, very, very heavy. But when you go towards empathy, it's more action driven, whereby you can start to see how can you help more people, what do they need. Like let's say if some people they are hungry, you go and feed them. You don't say that, poor you, poor thing, too bad, but you gotta go and feed them, right? So that's what I've been trying to do. I try and support, I buy out as much as possible. Some restaurants, certain of my friends that own business as well. I try my very best to advise them and to understand the situation, to understand where their bottlenecks are, and how they can also help, how can they overcome the bottlenecks. But again, most people from my own circle of friends, if they always work from bottom top instead of top bottom, they will bang a lot of walls and they get very frustrated. I learned that in a very painful manner, and that's why I always tell my team and myself that when we plan, let's say even the drive to Penang, right? You want to plan the whole way. So you don't just plan to if the whole journey is 1,000 kilometers, for example, you don't just plan for like 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers, right? You must plan and foresee the whole thing. But most people, if you don't foresee ahead as much as you can, you're gonna bang walls, and that's why it's very painful, and they get demotivated, and then they just lose control. So for most people that I see on the news today, we have to be very, very careful to not be in a state of sympathy, but let's go towards how can we help more people? How can we repay back kindness? Yeah.
So what you're saying is that now, even more than before, it is so important for us to have empathy to the people who are struggling and actually do our best to help people.
Yeah, and repay with kindness instead of being righteous. So what I will do is recently I've been ordering Grab food, and it's not a culture for Malaysians to tip, but I tip whenever I can tip. I just tip. Okay, I tip to this person because it is a whole ripple effect. When people get kindness, and then they will also want to repay that kindness back, and people will have hope. People would not give up. And there's hope that they're able to cling on to, and there's hope that things will be okay. So I think what we should do, especially those that are doing okay or they're still able to have a car, you're able to have a roof, on top of your head, you're able to have air-conditioned room, good stuff. I think we need to first learn to be grateful, to look at the things that we have, and let's see in whatever way that we can help.
Good, beautiful. So I have questions coming in. And the first question is, if you had one piece of advice for someone who's just starting out in business, what would it be?
Have a purpose and have a vision. You need to have a purpose first. It has to be a bigger purpose than just making money. If your purpose is to make money, you're not going to go far, because money will not just come just like that. You must have a purpose. When things strike you down very, very hard, the only thing that you can cling on to when things strike you hard and you don't see money coming in, it's not money. You must have a purpose in life. So yeah, have a purpose in life. Have a purpose in terms of what the business is trying to solve, and then have a plan. 12-month plan, 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 3-year plan. What's your cash flow like? Let's say you have no business for 6 months, 12 months, are you able to survive? So you need to have a plan.
You need to think the long term now.
At least 2 years.
Because a lot of people, when they just start a business, it's mostly impulsive. It's like, oh, I hate my boss. Let me quit and start a business. Or I don't like my job. Okay, let me just quit now and start a business, right? And they don't really realize it's like after you start a business, you have 30 bosses, 40 bosses. All your customers are your bosses. So next question is from Billy. He said, "Hi Jansen, Billy here. I'm a dentist. In my business, I am the operator, the one who delivering the treatments, and at the same time, I'm also the business owner. Probably similar to you, you're the trainer, and at the same time, you're running your own business. What are the challenges you face playing two roles in one business, and how did you overcome that?"
I don't play two roles, Billy. Yeah, I think no, I think it's a fact that there's a difference between owning a business and there's a difference between owning a business and there's a difference between being employed by your own business. If you're not careful, you will be self-employed. So the very reason why you quit your job to become a business owner, you need to revisit that. And if you open a business and you become an employee to the business, you're not a business owner. You are an employee to the business. My definition of a business owner is, if I'm not here today, can it run? And I'm very proud to say that if I don't come to the office for 2, 3, 1 week, my business can run. So that's why I trust my team, and I can focus on other ventures. And that's why we can grow and expand, because I have systems in my business right now, from my funnels, on the organic side, and also the direct marketing side. So I'm not concerned. So the main thing that you need to first solve is, what's your bottleneck? You cannot do everything, and you cannot do everything in the business. Your main goal as the CEO, as the main founder, is growing the company. Because if you don't grow the company, your best staff will leave you. If your best staff leave you, you're going to waste all your time to train the staff, right? So then you must give your staff, people that is with you, a purpose and a sense of direction, that they will be a part of something bigger than what they can imagine. So you need to identify what you can outsource, then you outsource. If you cannot outsource admin stuff, you need to find someone to help you and to take on some load. But for you as the main CEO or the main business owner, your goal has to be growth driven, instead of being so looking inwards. You need to look outwards.
What I also hear from you is a focus on thriving. It's a focus on expansion as opposed to just survival. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are constantly thinking about, like, I just want to survive. How do I survive? How do I survive? How do I survive? And if I hear it correctly, also it's about working on your business rather than working in your business, building the necessary assets so that you can free yourselves up rather than constantly needing to be involved and busy on a day-to-day basis. Am I correct to say that?
And for Billy, you need to overcome that, but you need to know what is your cash flow projection. Meaning, your company as a company, to be also investor friendly. If I tell my investors, for example, I have a scale that I can measure the growth of my revenue, and this is the proof. I can show you my track record. I can get this amount of sales. I know what's my CPA. I know what's my CPL. I know how much time I need to get a sale. I know what's my lifetime value. So I know all my numbers. When I know all my numbers, I can project how much risk I can take and how many people I can afford to bring in and to offset some of the load. But again, you need to keep your staff. But the first thing is, in order for you to grow, you need to have sufficient cash flow and a foreseeable projection so that you are confident to get more people and more staff.
I am gonna skip some question which I think you already covered before. I'll bring up the ones that actually you haven't covered before. So why do you buy up your partners? Like someone, so the Wilson asked, is it because they were incompetent or incompatible? We need good partners to work together and bring up the business. So why did you buy up your partners?
Why did I buy up my partners? First thing is incompatible. And the second thing is, I know that I can achieve a lot more by my own. So why do I need my partners at the point of time? But the major reason of why I brought on my partners at that time is incompatibility.
Got it.
It's like you guys know what's a yoke? You know the yoke that you put on the bull, right? In your farm. Do not be unequally yoked. If both of you, two bulls, and the yoke is the main and the main object to bring both of you together. If one goes to the left, one goes to the right, it's not going to happen. So the definition for myself in terms of being unequally yoked is the belief system may be similar, but in terms of the how we want to achieve that, that could be a difference. So at that point of time, it was two different for both of us, and that's why I decided to. Yeah, always.
I'm gonna ask two more questions because time is running short. So the second last question is actually, is there a definable turning point or a key point that made your business went from just surviving to making profit?
The first thing is you need to work from top bottom. You need to know how much you want to achieve in your, let's say you plan out your goals, how much you want to achieve in your first year, second year, or at least for me, my team, we have a goal for this 2021, how much we want to hit, which I told my team, we want to hit at least 1 million, minimum 1 million. We're going to try our very best. We don't know whether we can do it, but we're going to do our very best. So every single week we have a review and they will send a report and we will see how many people are closing and we're constantly reviewing. What I will always practice is it's the 4 R's. I will always reflect, review, realign, and recalibrate. So I will always make sure, number one, I need to have a plan. Then I need to reflect upon the plan, whether is it feasible or not based on track record. And then after that, I need to make the review. And then after that, if let's say, if I review the process, let's say for example, June, okay, our goal is 7 people to close a week. First week, we're not closing 7 people, we're closing 3. Okay, let's review, let's find out what's happening. So I'll wait for the report from my team. Read the reports. Okay, there's a bottleneck there. Let's try and solve it. Okay, week 2, let's see there's improvement. Oh, there's improvement. Why is that? Let's focus more time and more resources on that. Let's double it up. And if things are going on, I don't have to realign and recalibrate so much. But you need to have a plan. You need to set a goal for yourself, and then you work backwards. Most people, they don't have a goal. They go through a day-by-day basis. That's where you get demotivated. Yeah.
Thank you. And last question is, how do you deal with the negative thoughts that sneak into your mind?
If you first allow the negative thoughts to sneak into your mind, it's like if you say that you're going to fail, you're right. If you say that you're going to succeed, you're also right. So then you choose which one you want to have it in. Of course, I will have people that will also say, oh, you cannot lah, this lah, that lah. But if I let them dictate what I should feel and what I should be, then I don't have much belief in myself. So at first thing first, you need to believe in yourself. And as for myself, I put my belief and my trust in God. I know that there's a God that loves me, there's a God that cares for me, and I do my very best and I surrender the rest to Him. That's what I do. But for if you for those that are not a believer, what I would say is, you need to first know your worth, value. Don't let your value. You should be confident in yourself and what you can achieve. Because if you don't believe, who else is going to believe in you? Yeah.
Believe in your worth and value. So we are coming to a close, and actually, I have personally, I think this is a very, very good value. Are you guys getting value from this whole conversation? Okay. If you guys are getting value, just type in yes inside the comment. I am actually now going to ask you guys to write down over here so that we know what is the biggest values that you guys have taken from this conversation with Jansen. And while you guys are typing, I'm gonna share my own biggest takeaways. It boils down to 3 things: courage, community, and choice. The courage to make the hard choices. And I think that is the biggest separator between people who are successful and people who are not successful. And the community, being surrounded by the right people. And finally, choice, to really own our choices, to become very responsible about how we are behaving, how we are thinking, how we are living, how we are working. So the rest of you type down your biggest values you guys have been thinking. Now I do have a special someone that I want to invite up to talk. I actually sent him a text earlier and he said, no, let the young man talk. And then after that, I think no, I'm gonna ask him back in, which is your mentor, Robin. So Robin, like, do you want to come up and just say a few words about Jansen's journey?
Yeah, thank you very much, Felix, and evening, everyone. I am totally amazed with what has happened over the last 1 hour between you and him. And one thing I must say is I'm extremely proud of what Jansen has become. And you were asking him, what were the words that would describe yourself from the Jansen I knew and the Jansen today? I think he didn't say it very clearly, but let me share it with you. He grew up. I think that the two words was that he grew up, you know. And much as I am his like Uncle Robin, I do a lot of kick butts. I'm the one that always will be nagging him and scolding him. But I feel that the philosophical wisdom that I've given him, I think, if I can confidently say that, will come to nothing if it is not his hard work. So I must say that he has put in a lot of effort. And you are right, Felix, just now. He did what you did, what you mentioned as well. He made a choice to believe in the faith. He had a higher value purpose. God called him to build a healthier community. I have my higher value purpose. God called me to build leaders. So it happens that our path cross. I'm supposed to build a leader in him, and he's supposed to build a healthier community. And if like what he said, if you keep your focus on the higher value purpose, then the rest of the things kind of like set into motion and alignment, and things will then happen quite beautifully. So I summarize it in the chat room. I typed in there as for him, the 3 F's, as in he had faith in God and himself. He had focus. Initially, no focus. We had to kick a lot of butts, and if he remembers that. And then the drive was always to ask him to look forward. I said, these are the times when everybody is looking at the present too much. They succumb to negativity, negative influences. If you keep your sights forward, you will always find opportunities. So you got to go forward. That's all I want to say, really. I don't want to take the stage off him. I think he deserves it. He's come a long way. There's a lot of pain. I'm still waiting for him to buy me dinner, a nice one, after MCO is over. All right, back to you, Felix. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thanks, Robin, for sharing all that. So with that being said, we are coming to the close. I've seen a lot of values written down in the chat. Jansen, do you have any final words to our audience tonight?
I think my final words is I'll just share things that are a bit more practical, not so practical, but a bit more real right now. Business is tough. Things are tough right now. But I think that's where it will put us into, it will challenge us. I will say stress us out, because stress gives a very negative tonation, but the word challenge, like, okay, I have a 100 km challenge, I have a fitness challenge, or I have a challenge I want to complete. So you look from that perspective and you start to list down what are the challenges, what are the things that you need to do first. You break down your goals, and then you plan on what you need to achieve those goals. So instead of working that, okay, I cannot, but no, you just write down your goals first, and then you look at how am I going to solve the problem. I tell my team that money will come to those that solve problems. So as long as we focus on solving problems, instead of focus on making money, and you just find that the resources to start to pour into, because it's easier being said than done. But trust me, that at some point whereby I don't know whether I can even make enough money to sustain the business at one point of time. It's like close down, right? At this point, digitalization is very, very important. Please, guys, like, go and learn about digital marketing, digital presence. So important right now, at least for this next 6 months to 1 year. If you don't go into digital marketing or any form of digitalization, you're gonna miss out, and you're gonna get erased out lah.
So I'm gonna drop a link to Jansen's Facebook profile, or is that I'm gonna get a bunch of links from you, Jansen. I'm gonna drop it in the description later on in the video so that you guys who wants to follow him on his social media, wants to listen up and keep up with the developments of his work, by all means, please do so. And for my side, I actually have I have this venture called Thrive Together. It's not a business. Let me be very, very clear. It is really to help people who are struggling in these times. So any coach or trainer, specifically coach or trainer who is struggling, you guys can actually come to this thing. We actually do a weekly get together where every Thursday night, 8 p.m., where I look at all the challenges that you guys are facing, and I give you guys like one biggest key insight that you need to take for the next 1 week to focus on in your own business. And this is completely free of charge, but it is through an application process. Not anybody is able to join this one. The price I'm asking for is commitment, strong level of commitment, which I actually share with Jansen, and Jansen said, yeah, totally need commitment. So if you guys are interested in Thrive Together, I will drop the link in the description too. Apply for it if you are making less than 10K per month nowadays. You you are qualified to be a part of Thrive Together. By all means, do join that. Jansen, is there any invites that you want to give about any event or anything that you want to direct the audience to after this?
I have nothing for now, but I think one of the main key things again is thank you, Felix, for bringing me in to this platform for me to also share a little bit about what I've went through. And I hope whatever that I share will not be just a story, but it's something that you guys have seen, that I've been through it. And I know that all of us can also go through and put this together. And that's why we need to be in a community to support one another and to have hope and to bring us up, right? So thank you, Felix, for doing all this, for spending your time to also give back to the community and to bring people up. And yeah, if you guys know anyone that also will benefit, join Felix. Because Felix has also gone through owning a center, gone through the whole partnership issues. Also, I believe he's been through a lot as well, and I know. So I know that Felix can take you guys through now.
Having a mentor is really a game changer, because people who have been there, done that, they know where we are, like mice running around in a maze. It's like, hey, stop going around over here. Yeah. So essentially, someone asked about Thrive Together. Is it suitable for business owners only or employees too? Well, I would not, as long as there is a high level of commitment, I think that whatever we teach is relevant, but I just want to be clear, it is, I am mostly experienced in coaching trainers and coaches. Anyone who is falling outside of that, I'm not entirely experienced in coaching them. So for anyone who is just interested, can actually just apply, and I'll take a look at the application form. If you're suitable, you guys can come in. All right, with that being said, let's finish the end of the day. I have a special routine that I do for every one of my sessions. And the way it works is I'm going to demonstrate. It looks like this. You just raise up your hand and you do a single clap. And then we kind of say bye, okay? So let's do it all together. Everyone raise your hands, cameras on. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and clap. All right, bye. See you guys. Have a great evening. See you guys next week. Bye, 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 bye.